Here we are on filmsgonewild.com. My name is John Wildman, and here we get to revisit a filmmaker, Jeff Bemiss from Missing in Brooks County, whose film is screening this time because the last time we spoke with you, which film festival was it? Was it Hot Springs or was it?
I
I
think it
think it
was
was
Hot Springs.
yeah, Hot Springs, a documentary film festival. But on this time, you are at the San Luis Obispo International Film Festival with the film, and so therefore we talked about the film, and anybody can go on Films Gone Wild and see Jeff and Lisa and one of the subjects of the film talk about that. But I want to take an opportunity, since I don't always get a chance to redo conversations with filmmakers, about what your experience has been since I've seen you last. And we started to talk about it, and so you're gonna give me some dirt that people couldn't hear. But now let's just talk. Let's just talk in relation to, you know, we've gone a year of you doing virtual film festivals as opposed to doing in-person film festivals, and what that means. And there are a couple of fronts I want you to talk about. One, what it means for you and Lisa as far as the type of feedback you get or been able to get, because you're not doing Q&As, live Q&As. Nobody's wandering up to you in a lobby and going, oh my God, I saw Missing Brooks County last time and blah, blah, blah. And I just had to, spill out this thing. You're not getting that. So you're going to get that feedback in a different way. So let's start off with that. Like how have you guys been getting your filmmaker fix in that way through this year?
That's a good question. I mean, it is difficult to do that. I think, um, well, Lisa and her husband Jacob, who is also a producer with us and was our editor, they actually managed to pull off an in-person screening in Tucson where they live, and they just said, I mean, they had to distance, and it wasn't so you couldn't put a lot of people in the theater, but they said it was just wonderful to feel that what we're used to as filmmakers.
Right.
I think more than anything, Lisa and I are maybe a little bit sorry that our participants in the film were not able to have that experience because, after such a long journey filming, and we filmed for 5 years, to have them, the people who actually are in the film, come to us an in-person screening and walk the red carpet, so to speak, and you know take the stage and feel the applause and the validation. It's just, I think, a memorable thing for most people, and that was really not an option. So we're sad about that more than anything, but we are trying to embrace the positive, which is that because these festivals are virtual this year, they have a greater reach. So instead of having to drive to a locality in order to see the film, many of them stream across the United States, so we can reach out to anyone, anytime to watch the
Right.
film.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like with the geo blocking, at the worst case, you're going to be in the entire state.
Right.
So you're not just going to be stuck in Dallas. You also have people in Austin, Houston, that can see the film. Or same thing, if you're in, if the film festival's in Birmingham, you get all of Alabama, and whatever, and then as you said, there are a number of festivals that, if you allow them to, we'll have it available for the entire country, and some even internationally. And so therefore, I mean, ultimately, yes, you want people to freaking pay you and Lisa for the work that you've done on the film, and to see the film, but we also want eyeballs on our film. And especially with a film like Missing in Brooks County, where, there is another energy to illuminating us, to a situation, to a policy, to an issue. Um, you know, there's a different animal that you guys are after. So can you offer up, like, a detail or two where, this situation would not have happened in a normal film festival year, but because it did, we got an email from, Greenland, or, whatever about
Oh, yeah.
anything like that.
Right. We that may not have happened to us quite yet, although, well, no, we did actually have an international film festival the Global Health Film Festival, that I don't think that would have been on our radar if it hadn't been a virtual world that we're in. And as a result, we met some fantastic potential impact partners for the impact stage of this film, which was really wonderful. And also, we ended up getting a write up in the Lancet, which we never would have dreamed about, but that came as a direct result from um, the film. And I think, the Lancet is sort of the gold standard, and to be able to have this issue raised
Right.
on that platform was really wonderful.
Let's talk about the business of film festivals, and how you and Lisa, on behalf of this film, have been able to utilize that, or what your learning curve has been over the course of the last year. And I say this also knowing that, as you told me before we started the interview, that you've got a bunch of film festivals coming up. So what, we know in a general sense how you'd be approaching this if you were going town to town. Lisa goes to one city, you go to the next, Jacob goes to the third, and because you can't afford to fly all three of you to every single one. So what has been your approach on this tour?
Well, Lisa and I do trade off with the Q&As, and we also rotate with the participants in the film. So it might be any different combination. We're also working with the Film Collaborative, Jeffrey Winter and the Film
Mm-hmm.
Collaborative, and we have found that to be a really nice partnership. Um, because it is a big job if you're going to be in a lot of festivals, and we probably
Yes.
have, yeah, 19 or 20, I think, coming up.
I,
So yeah,
I,
we
I'll jump in really quickly to say I could not be a bigger fan of Jeffrey Winter.
uh,
I've known him for more than a decade from our time together at the AFI Fest and AFI, and even before the formation of the Film Collaborative. And he is aces in the book of any filmmaker he comes in and works with.
yeah, no, he is, and he knows his stuff. So any filmmaker would be very lucky to have him as a partner and a mentor.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, all right. So even virtually, you are still trading off on who gets stuck with doing the Q&A, who has to do the interview for this time, um, uh, even though you're not going in person. But what again, you learn as you go along, and you streamline it as you go along. So tell me a little bit about the learning curve that you guys have gone through from your debut, from your first festival that you played up to this point.
Well, I think one gets better, I guess, at the Q&As, I suppose. I don't know that our first Q&A, and I'm kind of, when you brought up Hot Springs, it kind of worried me a little bit. I thought back to that because I think that was our first Q&A. So I don't know. You may want to replace it with this one. But you do get better at the questions, and I think also it is really nice to bring we realized that it's really important to get our participants involved, and they want to be involved, and because it's another way that they can be empowered and they can tell their story and share it, and that's really good because again, when you've lost someone who's missing and you know there's nowhere to turn, you feel powerless, I think. And so if they feel that they can get their story out there, maybe um, spare the next family perhaps some pain, I think that there's a little bit of empowerment or comfort in that.
Yeah. Well, again, as you guys know, because we talked about it before, but I'm a big fan of this film. I'm thrilled to death that it's that, because I thought you guys would be kind of going toward your swan song, on the tour, and so the fact that you've got another handful of dates coming up thrills me to no end, because I want more people to see the film. Again,
you.
it is missing in Brooks County, currently screening at the San Luis Obispo International Film Festival. We've been talking with Jeff Bemiss, who's one of the directors, along with Lisa Molomot. Jeff, it's been wonderful revisiting this with you.
Thank you, John.